Warning! What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Ladies and gentlemen, dorks and dweebs, nerds of all ages, GeekPod Network Productions is proud to bring to you the most electrifying middle-aged guys in Syracuse, the Doctor, Hugh Allen, the Pod Whore, Paul Showens. Alone, they are single geek beacons in a dark cop drama world. But when the mics go hot, they are GeekPod. God bless me! Hello and welcome to this week's edition of GeekPod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
And I'm Corbs.
Guys, what you playing?
Well, I mean, we're all obviously playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes.
So
how's it going?
Loving it. I actually played a little bit more. Yeah. I'm sure I'm still the furthest back out of everybody.
You're definitely third in a race of three here.
Right. Yeah. Bringing up the rear on this one. But go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Where are you at? So where are you? No, go ahead. Where are you at? Because you and I talked about it earlier. So
I am at the home base basically. I can't remember Fordham or something like that.
Yeah.
Fordham. And I think I took the wrong route to get there because when I was trying to figure out how to sail from where I was, all of a sudden it went to that desynchronized thing, and then I'm running in the shadows, which I realized after that my game wasn't fucking up, and that means you died and you're starting again.
Nice.
And then it popped me onto land there on Fordham. I'm just going to call it that because that's how I remember it, and Corb seems to think that that's it, so I'm going with it.
I think so, yeah. I think that's what it's called.
But my mission log, and Corbs and I were texting about this because he keeps asking me if I've fought the douchebag yet and killed him, and I'm like, no, don't rush me. We've got months until I get there.
Well, and the funny part about it was I was texting you, and you were giving me like a one-word answers. I'm like, dude, is everything okay? Because it was like, have you done this yet? He's like, nope. I'm like, okay. Have you played it all? Nope.
Yeah, and so if you played it, I think I give him trying to be funny, and that's when he was like, "Are you okay? Like, are you having a stroke here?"
I didn't know something was going on. I was like, "Shit! What did I stop in the middle of something here?"
No. Apparently, I'm the only one that texts during the people are in the middle of stuff.
That's true. You do.
Oh, sounds like there's a story there.
Not much of one because I got the hint real fast.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm out. See ya.
So I'm past that. I went on the next raid, and we were talking about this last time. I kept going to this spot there, and I kept dying. I kept getting burning, basically. You're right, Hugh. I hung back a little bit to let them do their thing, and I picked off guys here and there when I could. And I got through it, and obviously going to the next part of it, you go through the next gate or whatever. And I killed the one guy that's there that's got the real big, long axe. I picked that guy off from a distance with a bow and arrow. I don't know how the hell I did that, but I hit him with like 3 arrows, and he died. I tried to fight him on my own with the axe, and he kicked my ass like 3 times. And I was like, well, I'll just kind of hang back and let these guys deal with it again. And I was sitting like on top of like a post. And I could see him off the distance, so I just started shooting a bow at him, and I hit him. The next time he died, I was like, well, shit, if it was going to be this easy.
I still wonder if there's something with your difficulty because I don't think you should be having this much trouble this early in the game.
To be honest with you, I was last time, like I kept dying because I kept burning and stuff like that. I was getting a little upset because I was like, man, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I didn't change the setting on it at all, and I just played it the way I had it set up. And like I said, I had a few issues with it, but it wasn't so bad. It wasn't as bad as the last time. Like I just every time I kind of walked near something that was on fire, I caught it on fire, and I was like, man, this sucks. I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So
did you start using the light attack like I suggested?
Yes, I did, and that works. It does work a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing too, as you go levels and you gain skill points, are you using those yet? Are you putting them into stuff?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Because here's the thing: in a lot of games, you can save up skill points and then put them into a tree if you want. But the way that Valhalla works is you have a power level. You might have noticed, and regions and raids have power levels. And those skill points, not only do they give you whatever you put a point in it, but it also adds points to your power level. So, I mean, you might be sitting on 20 skill points, but you're weak because your power level is low. Like you just take a few minutes, distribute all those skill points, you'll come back and you'll be more powerful. So
I just got my first skill points as I stopped playing yesterday. I think I have 2 points to spend right now. And
yeah, I think I've got some. I think you said I think I might have somewhere like 8 or 10 maybe. I have to look. I have to go in and look at that.
I mean, I try to distribute them like after I've gotten like 10 of them, unless there's a particular skill I'm going for. I would suggest you guys you can look up a map of the skill tree because it is kind of clouded until you get into that particular area. But go for double-handed, or basically there's one where you can do two-handed weapons in one hand. Now a two-handed weapon's more stronger, of course, but if you have to use both hands to hold it, you only have that one weapon. Well, there's a thing that allows you to have two-handed weapons in a single hand, so you're like double fisting two-handed weapons. Awesome skill. Trying to man, you Google search how to distribute your skill points. There's some really good recommendations out there. That's where I went to get an idea, and it really depends kind of on the kind of build you want. But I think that you guys are pretty much going to want what I want is just a badass go in there and tear shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard to distribute them in that way. One good thing is check your armor, because if you have your armor has an alignment. There's bear, raven, and something else. Actually, all gear has an alignment. And for instance, I lucked out because I have my Twitch account, my Amazon account set up, and they did this thing where if you have Amazon, you get a free set of armor. So I got this like full set of bear armor when I started the game, and so even though maybe I wasn't interested in all of the bear skills, there are on those constellations, like you'll go like one will be like plus 0.2 to light attacks, plus 0.2 to heavy attacks, plus 2 light, plus 3 all bear aligned stuff. So basically I'm buffed because of the gear I'm using and the things I put my skill point in. So my character is fairly powerful now because of the way I distributed those. Like if I was to change my armor, I would become weaker because right now I'm not going to change my armor. It's a good armor. So.
Right.
Okay. So I ended up killing. Is it Kavort?
Who knows?
Right.
Whatever that guy's name is. He's the guy that killed his father. So I did. That's what I texted you, Paul. Is like, did you? Because I didn't think I died like the first 3 times I did it, and I'm like, did I screw up? Because it asked you, do you want to fight him? Do you want to go and fight him now, or do you want to wait? And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go fight him. Not thinking about it. Figuring maybe it would be something a little bit farther on. You say, go fight him, and then you're at his front door.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, shit, this is not what I wanted to do. So I fought him, and you've got to, and Paul, this is something for you to know. You got to dodge a lot. You got to dodge, you got to move out of the way and stuff like that. It took me forever to kill him. I died. I mean, my son, my mom will tell you. I mean, I was yelling at the TV because I was dying, but I kind of was like, you know what, this is it. You start to learn what you have to do. So, and I finally ended up killing him, and then you have to go through his camp. His brother runs away. to the north, and you get to go through and basically pillage his village. You go through, get his gold and stuff like that. That's where I am right now. I just finished doing that, and I'm kind of hunting around in the mountains for the other stuff that is kind of laying around. So,
are you using the lock-on function, Corbs?
I don't.
Okay, because the game doesn't the game doesn't really explain this to you, and I discovered it by accident. Both the sticks are also buttons. You can push them down in the right.
Yep.
Okay. Right stick locks you onto an enemy. So like in a boss fight like that, where you're concentrated on one guy, that's super helpful because you dodge, but when you turn back, you're facing them. You stay facing the enemy the entire time. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because that I learned that in that battle, and it would have been a lot harder without that. Also, the battle changes for you, Paul. It changes places. You start fighting them in one place, and then you end up in a pit. In that pit, there are raspberries.
Yep.
So you can real quick, grab a little health if you need it. Yeah,
that's the first time I fought him, I ended up down there and I had very little, and I didn't know that at first too. So I went back to the one before I saved it, before you started fighting him, and I started again. And as you're running around, there's some berries around on the top side too that you can pick up. And then, like you said, when you go into the pit, I think there's 6 or 7 spots you can get them. So it helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Because this guy picks up bodies and throws them at you and stuff like that. So, but it took a while. It took a while to get through it. But if you stick with it, and like I said, you gotta hit I think it's the square button to dodge, or whichever button it is to dodge and move out of the way.
Yeah.
Like you'll see him coming at you, and he's got one of those real long axe things. You got to be out of range of that. But if he's running at you, I found it easy if he's running at you to go at him and then dodge as you roll past him. And because he swings, you swing away from you, and then when you be hitting him in the back. And it takes a little more. I found it took a little more HP off if you're hitting him from the back.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed to work a little bit easier. I mean, it took probably when I finally got going, you got in a good rhythm. It probably took a good 10 or 15 minutes to get through the battle itself. Because like I said, you got to keep dodging. And when you go into the pit, like I said, he starts throwing bodies at you. He hits you with bodies. And again, you got to be able to move. The bodies somehow, when you dodge, he sometimes will actually adjust to you too. So you have to dodge and then maybe even dodge again. So when you're doing it, kind of keep that in mind.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what would happen if you say, because when they ask you if you want to go fight the guy, if you want to go, raid his village or whatever, there's one that says you don't have to do it right now. I don't know if you click on that because I just went ahead and did it. I wasn't even thinking.
All that does is you just get more time to do other shit, and then you can come back and do that when you want.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. So I just went in and fought him and stuff like that. So, and I got past that. I found the secret room at the top of the waterfall. I found all that stuff. I got all the stuff that was in the village there, and now I'm kind of like on the outskirts in the mountains and stuff like that. I don't know if you found, there was a guy that you find that he's at the top of the mountain. You throw all of his stuff off the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I found that guy, and then he jumps off the mountain. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
You're also going to run across a waterfall and a gentleman, and he's going to ask you to fight him. And I'm just going to tell you right now, don't do it.
Okay.
You're going to come back to that way later in the game.
Okay. I assume he's probably a tough guy to fight.
Yeah, really tough.
Well, because after when I was where Paul is right now, and you've got to try to find the I guess you would call her the psychic's hut.
Yep.
I ended up on like the other side of the island, climbing up the thing, and again ended up on the top of it like a waterfall area, because you can go into the map and you can click on a spot, and it gives you the light where you are and where you've got to go to, which I found kind of helpful at times. When you click on something, if you're looking for like the gold or the treasures or whatever, you click on it, you can see it off in the distance. You can head in a direction. You maybe not get to a certain. You may have to go you may have to climb a mountain to get up to these spots, but it kind of helps you in the direction to go. When I was looking for her place, I ended up in like a little area with a waterfall and a pond and a moose. And I'm like, holy shit.
The
I tried to fight
legendary
the
elk.
moose, and the moose kicked my ass.
Yep. I already stumbled across that too, and I decided this wasn't a fight for me right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I'm like, nope, get out of here.
I found that and I was like, yes, because legendary animals are something from the past game. So I had a blast with that.
So yeah, same thing, Paul. I ran and climbed up the mountain in the back and got away from him. And I thought, I'll sit up here and shoot at him with a couple arrows. I didn't realize you only get a few arrows. You only hold like 12 to 15 arrows to start. I don't know if it increases as you go along.
You can increase your quiver size, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I noticed that I only had like 12 and I was shooting them and then I ran out of arrows. I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do now?
You do recover them from bodies though. So
yep, I did notice that, like when I was on the island at the beginning when you're going to rescue your crew. Like I think I shot a couple of deer while I was on there. And as you walk up, you loot the deer, you get the arrow back.
Well, you actually get the arrow back just by walking over it. Looting, I believe, yeah, it does. Looting it gets you the deer meat, but just walking over something that you've shot an arrow into will give you the arrow back.
Nice.
Okay.
And now, after I ran away from the legendary elk, I stumbled across a couple of villages up in the mountains. One of them is a Marauders village. And I found a special weapon there. I found a war hammer that's up in like a tree fort.
Okay.
No, I didn't come across that one when I was there. I might have to go back there and take a look at that.
It's further off because I was actually trying to find my way back, and I just stumbled across this stuff. It was more of the like on the map. It had the gold icon saying that there's treasures there. That's how I ended up finding the elk, was because I was following the one that was a mystery, and then when you get close, it shows the big paw.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So
at first I didn't realize that you can, I wasn't really looking at the map. I was just kind of wandering around trying to find this person's hut. And it, like I said, I ended up on like the other side of the mountain from where her hut is. I'm like, what? I'm like, I got no clue where I am. At that point I'm thinking, all right, did I screw something up? Do I got to start the game over? And no offense, I stumbled upon her hut by accident. Like I was coming down the back other side of the mountain, and I looked. I'm like,
there it is.
I'm like, there it is. I'm like, holy crap! I found it.
No, I don't even have that mission. Like my quest log still says that I have to get home. So I don't know if there's something where I have to go check in.
Yeah, I think you have to go talk to somebody. Yeah,
you got to go through and talk to a bunch of the people in there. There's a guy that does like a rhyming thing. He's in there. You gotta talk to the girl outside the king's fortress. She's one of the guys. Then I went up and did the. You have to find. I think it's Valky's hut or whatever her name is. Valka's. Yeah, you got to find her hut first, and then you got to come back and talk to the king after.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't found any of them yet.
Okay.
I was just wandering around the village. I taught the one sentry at the front how to shoot a bow.
Yep.
After I thought those were bad guys, all the dummies, because I did the Odin sight and it lit them all up red.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there trying to get them, and I went to jump down on one of them, and I landed on a torch. I just landed like right on top of the torch, and I didn't realize it was a torch. I'm looking around, and all of a sudden my guy starts going, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm on fire. I ran down into the water, and that's when I found her. So.
Something it just occurred to me, when you guys get to the point where you have to find the flighting papers, and you'll know what that is when you get there, let me know, because they are insanely difficult. I mean, they're such a pain in the ass, but there is a super easy secret, and I will share it with you once you've tried yourself a few times.
Nice. Very cool.
So just keep that in mind for when you get to that point.
Yeah, I think I've just ran into like the random people in the village so far. Like I said, I've ran into the guy that you have to play dice with, and I lost that game. I'm terrible at that. I found the store, and there was absolutely nothing good there right now in the because I'm looking for spears and stuff like you said, but nothing good. And then apparently now I have to go to a tattoo shop.
You don't have to, but you can.
All right. I noticed he was a little offended that she wanted to cover up his wolf scar. So I
didn't even do that in the village. I just, like I said, I went through and did the rhyming thing. went back and talked to the girl that sits out in front of the king's hut, and then it said to go and find this other girl's hut, the psychic's hut. So,
well, apparently I need to go back to the
so.
village and figure out all this stuff because I've done no rhyming and there's been no king. All I know is there was an icon over what looked to be like a pretty big building, and that was where all of the vendors are.
Okay.
So that's all I've seen so far. And then I just took off into the mountains, just wandered off.
Yeah, you kind of did.
It's like,
just kind of was like,
you have a mission. Okay, la 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 la.
Right.
That's Paul.
Hey, look, what's that? Just took off.
But yeah, so yeah, the it's like Seeking Sun or something like that is the one that when you go and talk to the boss, and then you got to find the psychic's hut. So like I said, the first one, you go and find the hut because you go to talk to the king, and the girl's like, well, he's talking to this guy and you can't really disturb him right now. I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking wait around.
Don't you know who I am?
So I just, like I said, I just took off and went up into the mountains and stuff like that. The one thing I did like is when you were up and you found the hidden room at the top of the waterfall. I like the fact that you could jump off the top of that waterfall into the water. I did that. I was like, I'm just going to do this to see what happens. And if I die or whatever. And I jumped off and landed in the pool of water underneath it. And I'm like, oh, badass.
I tried doing that as well with that where the elk is. And that's when I found out that the water is literally like an inch deep. That didn't work out so good for Ivor. That's for sure. But
yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about when you find the hidden room.
I haven't found that one yet. So
yeah. Well, you're not you haven't gone on the raid yet, so you don't know.
Okay, no. I know I had an option at one point. They asked me if I wanted to go on raids or anything like that.
Well, because what'll happen is when you see the psychic and then you go back and talk to the king, your brother comes back or your brother. They're not obviously not brothers or whatnot, but and then he wants to go and take back their land or whatever, and you go with him. So that's the raid that you go on. Gotcha. But you'll find that out when they come back. That's when you get the knife on the wrist that all the Hidden Order has.
Okay.
The hidden blade or whatever they call it.
Nice. Yep. So, nowhere's near that yet.
Yeah, you'll know when you talk to the king, that's when you'll see that. So, like I said, I'm a little bit past that. I'm gonna probably play for a little while tomorrow.
Nice. So, very, very cool.
Is that all you guys got then?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to talk about something when I'm only probably all told 20 minutes into the game. So,
yeah. Well, I did have a couple other gaming related things. I wanted to give you a VR update. First of all, loving the PSVR, and I'm going to actually talk about it a little later. But a few things. Number one, grabbed Fruit Ninja. Fruit Ninja in VR is fucking awesome. It is so awesome. It is just, when I discovered it, I'm like, I didn't even think. I'm just like, boop. And it's such a blast. Struggling with some motion sickness.
Really?
From some games, yes. Particularly the Walking Dead games, because of course there's two of them on there. There's Saints and Sinners, and there's Onslaught. And so far both are good. Struggling with playing them because the first time I played, I really sat down and played Onslaught. 20 minutes in and I had to stop, and I felt like I was going to puke the rest of the night.
Wow.
It was awful. And apparently this does happen to some people with the games where they have free motion, and you do build up a tolerance and it gets better. But yeah, it was just took me by surprise because I'd been playing VR all week and right. I've not had any issues. And then on Wednesday I go to play. I'm like, finally I get a chance to play the Walking Dead game because Avery was doing something else and no one was going to bother me. And I start playing like, oh. So that was kind of surprising for me. But beyond that, yeah, so far I think it might be the best purchase I've made ever when it comes to video games. It's just so immersive. Also wanted to bring up the big video game news this week was Capcom put on a big showcase for Resident Evil 8. I'm not sure if either of you guys saw that. It's called The Village, which is interesting because Resident Evil 4 happened in a village, and there's a lot of similarities there. It seems very much like that game. There's some more melee moves. It seems like it's going to be more melee based than some past games. There's some versus game modes that are maybe released as separate games or something alongside it. They have a lot going on for that. This is different. It's not zombies. There's a vampire. There's werewolves. There's a big castle. There's a vaguely European-looking village. That kind of thing. It's very reminiscent of Part 4, but they're diving into other supernatural things. So that's interesting. Resident Evil with vampires.
Nice.
Not
that's pretty
something
cool.
I thought that I was going to see. But yeah, the game has kind of got. I mean, everyone thinks of it as zombies, but the past few installments of the game really haven't had any. They haven't had zombies in them for a number of installments now.
No kidding. I haven't played since the original one.
Yeah, me either.
So
Yeah, but that's the big gaming news. But yeah, I wanted to let you guys know how VR was. Was there anything else other than the thing I wanted to talk about later? I don't think so. Just yeah, I wish you guys could come over and try it out. I want to show it to people.
that would be cool
No.
at some point when the world isn't ending.
Yeah, well, that's probably never going to happen. So
Right. All right. Well, on that note, how about we jump to our first break and then we'll come back and we'll find out what's got us geeked.
sounds good to me.
That's good.
All right. Stay tuned, fellas.
The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest returns in 2021 with an all-new location. This family-friendly event will have new celebrity guests, new activities and attractions, as well as a diverse selection of vendors, ranging from horror and sci-fi merchandise, artists and authors, tattoo artists, podcasts, as well as unique vendors like breweries and wineries. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 27th and 28th at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Guest announcements will begin after the new year. For all up-to-date information, including tickets, vendor space, and sponsorship packages, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Please note, dates of event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19.
Welcome back. And boys, what's got you geeked?
Well, I'm excited to talk about this because what has me geeked probably would have Corbs geeked too, and maybe even you, Paul. Yes, I'm going to go back to talking about VR, but I discovered something amazing this week. Everybody's Golf VR. Waiting for the responses. Okay.
Nice.
So apparently Everybody's Golf is a game, a franchise that's been on regular platforms. I was doing some reading about what were good VR games, and people raved about this. So I picked it up, and holy crap! Oh, here comes the cat. Well, I don't know how this is going to work with the background. Say
Oh,
hello,
she showed
Riley.
up for a second. And now,
Right, Redbug. Say hello. No? Okay.
no.
She doesn't like to be held. Wow, this is so cool. Now, here's the thing. This game is great. There are a few annoying parts, though. Okay, it looks like it's a first-party game because it comes up Sony Interactive, so that means it's a Sony-owned studio basically, and that's great. But they, how they have weird sensibilities in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay, cat, you were irritating. So. This could just be, an awesome golf game, but you start off the game and there's this cute little waifu. Oh, hi, welcome to the country club. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, then you get out on the course and you have another cute little waifu. So it's a little Asian girl with an English accent, like a British accent, who's nattering on the entire time you're playing and gives you useful tips like, oh, it skews a little left there after you've already hit the ball. I look through the settings. I'm like, can I shut this bitch off, please? I don't want this. I don't want any caddy. That's just creepy. And every once in a while in the game, they'll do a little break between holes. So you might be sitting on a park bench with her as she's eating chocolate candies that you gave her, and maybe she offers you one, or sitting in a golf cart and she's like, oh, here, let me show you your score. And I'm just like, this is so fucking creepy. Is this for like lonely people who like golf? I mean, what the I mean, considering that it's like one of the only real golf game on the VR to begin with, if it was like a niche title, I would understand. Like if there were tons of golf games and like, here's one for the lonely neckbeard losers who have an anime pillow, a body pillow. I get it, but it's not. Okay. So fucking weird. That set aside, and the fact that, I'm playing this and I'm hoping that my wife and daughter don't look at the screen because it would be embarrassing. The actual golfing part is so much fun. I mean, you got the club in your hands, you look down, you can do practice swings, and then you hit a button, and then your club actually, it's like the ball is transparent until you hit that button, and you take a swing boom, it hit it. And I mean, I think it's as close to the real thing as you could possibly get it. And, I've told you guys in the past, I'd love to play real golf. This is the closest I've ever come to playing real golf. And I'm having a blast with it. And I'm hoping that at some point, we can all go actually do this for real, because it makes me want to do it even more.
Mhm.
The closest I've ever gotten to real golf, and I don't know if they did this with you, but in high school and in grade school, once a year they take everybody outside with a bucket of balls and some putters and say, "Go here, kill 45 minutes." They didn't teach you anything except for how to hold the club, and
Right.
that's it. Most of them were running around holding it like a machine gun, and playing Star Wars or Cops and Robbers or whatever. It's pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to when I can actually because it takes about an hour to play through a course from what I
Mhm.
read. Take the time to actually do that. The scenery is beautiful. It's rendered realistically. I think it would be nice to play through an entire hole, and I did, or entire course. And I did notice that they have other courses that you can buy, and I don't know if they're based on real courses. But if you're a golf fan and they are based on real courses, that would be really cool. A,
Yep.
B, since we have VR, why is nobody going total photorealistic? I mean, I know that they create golf courses in games, like real ones. We have the technology now. Get it like photorealistic, since you don't have to really run around in it. You just go in one spot, and that you're static when you're playing. I don't see why that's not possible. I can imagine golf fans would pay a lot of money
Oh
to
yeah.
be able to have a course from Scotland or
Yep.
Japan or something you'll never get to play.
See, I was just thinking that, Hugh, when you were talking about that VR, like a real life VR. I mean, for people that don't play or can't go, like my grandparents went to Scotland to play golf when before they both passed away. That was their last trip they went on together. They went over to Scotland and played. They played the new course at St Andrews, which is the oldest course on the planet. The old courses, the new course is something you can go and play now. The old course is where they play the British Open, and it's for men only. That's one of the only courses in the country that you can't get on it if you're a female.
That's
Wow.
bullshit.
It is very much. It is very
Fuck
much.
golf.
But like you're saying, for somebody who probably will never get a chance to go over there unless I win the lottery to go and play over in one of those courses, it would be awesome to be able to put on a VR headset and go and actually see that course and play that course in your living room.
Yeah, he advertised at British Open for poor people and women. I mean,
Right. So, but that would be awesome. I mean, if they could come up with something like that, if they could come up with a game that had the real courses. I mean, there's courses around here that obviously you can't get on and play. Like you can't get on where the Masters are played every year at Augusta. That's a private course. The only people that they're members, but you got to be. I want to say it's like you have to have at least a $10 million bank account to be a member there.
Wow.
So you're talking doctors, you're talking lawyers, and the only other people that can play on it is whoever wins the Masters. If you win the Masters, you're a lifetime member there. So if you win the Masters, you can go and play whenever you want.
oh, so you could be like, haha, I got $400 in the bank, but I can play this course.
Exactly. That would be fun to be able to do stuff like that, to play courses in the area, even to play courses like on the West Coast. Like I was, one of the nicest courses of the courses in the area is Pebble Beach in San Francisco. It's a public course. You can go play it. But again, for me, it's all the way across the country. And you got to get the money to get there. You got to find a hotel there. And it's $125 just to get on the course, to play the course. I mean, are you willing to drop $1,000 to play golf over there? I personally probably would, because that's a course I would always love to play. Between the flight there, the flight back, the hotel, and the golf, I would probably drop $1,000 to do that. But that's me. I'm an avid golfer. I would do shit like that. But for somebody who doesn't play golf, yourself, Paul, my brother, he golfs, but he's not an avid golfer like I am, to play courses like that, if you, like I said, in a VR headset, and to be able to maybe even just buy the course for $5, $10 or whatever, and then you can play it whenever you want, type of thing, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm geeked about, and I don't know if this is going to work. Actually, I'm going to have to shut off my background. Hold on, because we already know that doesn't work. So let me turn off the background. Got to show you guys something on my wall. All right. So far, what happened?
Lost video.
What the fuck?
Uh-oh.
Wait.
Well, that's a big H.
Hold
There
on.
you are.
All right. Do you see that
Hellraiser.
awesome poster?
Yes, that's awesome.
That
cool.
is awesome. And this does not do it justice by any stretch of the imagination. But I ordered that this week and I put it up here in my office. Now, that is one of my favorite comic book covers. It is the cover of Hellraiser, Boom Studios Hellraiser comic number 8, done by Tim Bradstreet, and who's an amazing, art. His stuff work on Punisher, on Constantine, on Hellraiser is, I think, legendary.
I would
I'm
agree
really
with that.
happy about that. I feel kind of bad about that though, because I had to order it from one of those places where you can make your own posters, and I want everyone to know I legitimately did the very best I could to purchase this from a real place, and you can't find it. I assumed you could get any comic book cover in the form of a print or a poster, especially, I mean, that's a fairly iconic picture. Even just Tim Bradstreet's regular stuff, it's just, it's not out there.
Right.
I did find the original pencil sketch from the cover on eBay for like $800, and I'm like, that's not
Wow.
a fucking poster. So, I mean, I tried. I did everything I possibly could to give money back to the original artist, and it just wasn't possible. Even on his own website, nothing. So I ended up taking the highest resolution image I could find and making a poster on one of those sites. But really happy with it. Came rolled up really tightly. I don't know if you noticed, it's sticking out from the wall.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay. Yeah, I had to, and this is probably apropos because it's pinhead, but I had to nail it to the wall and it's still curling. So there's nails coming out of it, but it kind of makes it 3D. It kind of pops out. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I've wanted that. I've actually been looking for a print of that for probably 2 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I think we had a discussion about that before, because it was bugging you that you couldn't find any legitimate sources for any of his work.
Yeah.
For like wall hangings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I run into Tim Bradstreet on a street and I told him that I did that, would he be mad at me, or he'd be like, yeah, I know my online store sucks?
I don't know.
I mean,
one of
how
two
do artists
ways.
feel?
You're getting punched in the neck or congratulated. I'm not sure which one.
Well, I just, I wonder, how do comic book artists, and if anyone listens that has some insight to this, drop us a line. I mean, how do you feel about that? I know that there's a lot of people who don't like it when people make money making prints of other people's work, and I completely get that. But how do they feel when somebody legitimately can't get something? It just doesn't exist.
Right.
Right. Because that's really not your fault for the most part. Then you try.
Right. I mean, and like you said, I mean, from what you guys just said, you've been trying for 2 years to find it.
Yeah.
And you haven't had a chance. You haven't found it in 2 years. So you took the next step. You took 2 years trying to find it. Couldn't find it. You took the next step and you made it yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, what drove me to do that was just that I was looking for a reminder of my particular struggle right now and what I'm dealing with, and that the pinhead face palm, is it finally had new meaning. Maybe it was something, it was a totem I found earlier in life that was going to have meaning later, and I just didn't know it yet. But I'm like, I want that in front of me every single day to remind me. And I'm like, I have to do this. And that's what made me pull the trigger on it.
Well, that's very cool. I like it.
But that's it. That's what's got me geeked. How about you, Corbs?
I got a couple of things that's got me geeked. I got one thing that's kind of got me sad, and I'm just going to bring it up real quick. In the past 30 days in Major League Baseball, you've lost Tommy Lasorda, the longtime manager of the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers. You lost a key player from the Dodgers in Don Sutton. He died a couple of days ago. And just this morning, the past home run king, Hank Aaron, passed away this morning.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that kind of took me back a little bit. They always say things come in threes. So, that was kind of that kind of took me for a loop this morning. I was sitting watching. I think I turned on SportsCenter for a second, and bottom line and said Hank Aaron passed away, and I'm like, what the hell? Just what? Now, and I bring it up because you guys don't know, when I was younger, and I'm talking when I was in middle school all the way through high school, I was an avid memorabilia person. I collected baseball cards, sold baseball cards. I had my own, me and my father and my brother, we did baseball card shows, trade shows. You go and you sell cards and you get autographs and stuff like that. I would go to Cooperstown every year for the Hall of Fame inductions. So you get to go through and meet the players, these guys that were in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, obviously some of these guys are, you know, older at the time. But it was always really nice to go and meet these guys and get a chance to talk to these guys, because you think of some of these players, you think of some of these guys are real jerks and they don't talk to people. They stay out of the spotlight and whatnot. I found it different when I was there. These guys always seem to take the time to talk to people. It might have been for 10 seconds, you know, hey, how you doing? Where you're from? Nice to meet you, type of thing. That's all you ask. And there were some guys that would, you know, just sign the thing and shove it to you and you on your way,
yeah.
kind of herd you through. But he wasn't one of those guys. Hank Aaron was not one of those guys. He always took the time to you know, he shook my hand. I met him. That's what I'm getting. He took the time to shake my hand, told him I was a baseball player. He asked what position I played, like carried on a conversation like we were sitting in the park, and took the time to be interested in me, which, I mean, at the time it was, you know, 1990. I mean, he was in his, let's say, late 50s, maybe early 60s. He didn't know me from a hole in the wall, but took the time to sit down and speak to me. You know, like I said, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, you know, just kind of told me to stick with it, stuff like that. And I thought that was kind of cool. And he's not the only guy that did that for me. Another guy that I met doing that is my brother's favorite baseball player was Ted Williams. And I did a card show with Ted Williams.
Isn't he from Married with Children?
I think he was on there, yes. I believe he was. But we did this card show, and I have a book that's got the 100 greatest hitters of Major League Baseball, and it has people from all the way back in the early 1900s all the way through, I'll say, the late 80s. I think the latest person that was in there, I think, was like Don Mattingly. So in the middle of it, or at the very back of it, is a picture of Ted Williams. It's a full page picture of it. And he's one of the guys I looked up to when I was playing baseball. I tried to take his philosophy towards hitting. So I bought his book. It's called The Science of Hitting. And in it had a picture. It's a diagram of the strike zone. And in it's got baseballs. And it had his diagram of where it was that he hit the best, pitches the best, high and tight, low and away. And it was color coded. So wherever he was strongest was green. If the pitch was in that area, 4 times out of 10, he was going to hit it and get a base hit. And obviously the blue ones were the cold areas and stuff like that. And my brother had that book. So he brought that book to get that picture signed. And I brought the 100 Greatest Hitters book to get signed. And my brother went first and he signed it and said, oh, did you read this book? He goes, well, yeah, and I batted left-handed and I kind of looked at it. So I didn't really play baseball much. I was more a football player. So, okay. And shuffled him along. And I was like, okay, well, he's going to say something nice. I put the book down in front of him, and the look on his face was like, he was like, oh my God. And I looked at my brother, and he kind of looked back at me like, what the hell is going on here? And he looked at the picture, looked at the guy next to him and goes, this was from 1940. It was a spring training game. Hit a double off the wall in right field. I'm like, how the hell do you know that? He goes, I can tell you every hit I had.
Wow.
And what the pitch was. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah. Because he goes, thank you for this. Thank you for showing me this picture. And I was like, you're welcome. Shook my hand, took a picture with me and my brother, my father.
Nice.
And
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, wow.
Oh, by
That
the
was-
way, I was wrong. It's Ted McGinley. He was Marcy's second husband on Married with Children. I don't know what you were talking about when you said, yeah, he was. But
Well, they
I
had a baseball one, and I think he
Ah.
might have like a guest star on it or something like that.
Gotcha.
So that's the thing that's got me not geeked, but I just wanted to bring that up about Hank Aaron, and I got into the Ted Williams thing because that just kind of showed what some of these guys were. A lot of these people thought these people were assholes and whatnot, and they didn't really talk to anybody, but I found them to be different. So then the other two things that got me geeked is, as you guys know, I'm no longer using my cell phone to do recordings. I bought a camera and a microphone. So now I'm using my desktop, which is nice. I finally got it worked. I had to have Paul kind of help me make sure the camera was working. I had to have him log in real quick to see if I could get the camera to work, and it was working. So I figured that out, and everything works. It's great. And I'm happy that I can actually do this, not having that little tiny ass screen to look at.
Nice.
But you're
So-
less mobile now. You can't just walk
Yes.
to the kitchen to get your glass anymore.
I can't do that anymore. But then the same token, I can get text messages to not fuck up
The show. Yeah.
the podcast. And then the other thing that's got me geeked is I got my new glasses today.
Nice.
So I had my prescription for the longest time. Just before I got laid off, I had gone to the doctors and got prescription. Actually, before the world shut down, I got my prescription from my eye doctor, and I just had never gone and gotten them filled. So my glasses, and I got glasses, my mom got glasses, and my son got glasses. We all got glasses, but I went and got them at BJ's instead of getting them through my doctor's. My doctor was going to charge me like $500 for my glasses or whatever. I went to
Yikes.
BJ's and got it for $250.
Nice.
So now I can see better.
There you go.
Nice.
So that's what's got me geeked. Is I got my glasses. Now I got to work on getting some contacts, and then I'll be good. But so for me to get the thing that's got me geeked is I got my glasses.
I can see.
Finally see. And the reason I bring it up is the glasses I had from before. You guys don't know because I don't wear them because I can't. Those glasses that I've had for 25 years.
Wow.
Never once changed the prescription. Never once changed. My contact prescription that I had changed all the time. But I never wore my glasses all that much. Now that I've been home, I don't wear my contacts as much, and I have one pair of contacts left. So I only wear them when I go and do something, I go out or whatever. I go on date night with my girlfriend or whatever, I'll wear my contacts. But when I'm sitting here at home or I'm driving or take my mom around, whatever, I wear my glasses. So
Are you trying to say people that wear glasses aren't sexy and can't go out on dates? Because that's what it sounds like you're trying
Yeah,
to
No,
that's precisely what he's saying. Yes.
I'm not saying that because now I can wear my glasses when I go out on a date because I can fucking see again. Because and those glasses I had, my girlfriend will tell you, my mom will tell you, they were like cockeyed on my face, and because I had it for 20, they were loose. The sides were
Bones.
loose. Like I'd take them off, and you could like go like this, and it would fall over. So I desperately needed new glasses, and I finally boned up and went and got them. I got my son's glasses because he needed them for when he's on the computer, which is pretty much 24/7. And I got mine, and I got my mom's glasses because she broke hers. So
Nice.
I was able to get all 3 sets of glasses. We went and got them 2 weeks ago, and mine came in on Wednesday, and we went and picked them up today at 2:00. So
Nice.
that's it.
Sight
Paul
is
doesn't
always a
under-
nice thing.
Paul doesn't understand how exciting new glasses can be
No, he doesn't.
because he's
Not
perfect.
yet. It's coming.
You'll get there. Don't worry.
Yep, it's coming. I know it. When I had to get up off the couch and walk to the TV to see some of the text on Valhalla, yeah, it's coming.
You just gotta sit closer to the TV, my friend.
I don't know. The couch isn't that close. That's the problem.
When I play mine, because it's in my room on my PlayStation, on my TV in my room, I have a card table chair
Mhm.
that is in my room that I use when I play PlayStation. I put it like right
there.
next to the TV stand. It's like that far from my knees.
I mean, that works too. So that way you got somewhere to put a drink.
Exactly. That's exactly.
You can't go wrong there.
I can put my feet up and relax and.
All right. So what's got me geeked is we did our update on our good friend Maddie, the veg doc, right?
Yeah.
And I posted the pictures on the Geek Pod page on Facebook. Did y'all see that?
I did see that.
posted both Kevin's and your picture. And had a little write-up on there in case our listeners haven't said it. It says, the return of our old buddy, the Vag Doc. Still not a gynecologist. Still probably an angry little man who tried to threaten litigation with 3 laughing faces. Good to see you got yourself an upgrade, Maddie. And then we said, and I say we loosely because Laura decided to post as us, Maddie, how the hell you been, buddy? Well, he responded.
I didn't see that. Or did he respond privately?
No, he responded right there. There's a small chain. It's great. And he tagged us in it. That's how I saw it today. His name, I guess we can give his full name because that's public now on here, right?
I guess so, yeah.
So Matthew O'Brien. It says, Geek Pod, I've been pretty good, my dude. Thank you for the D ride. Always great to see my plate.
Thank you for the D ride. What's a D ride?
I think he's insinuating that we're riding his dick. I think. So I responded and said, it's been a while. We were psyched to see you again. To which he responded,
Jesus Christ.
Geek Pod, awesome. I'm glad I could bring some light into your day. So it was decent. I think I'll probably respond one more time and ask him if he wants to private message me his address, and I'll send him a Geek Pod sticker to slap on that ride if he wants.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean it's not like before where he was literally trying to
threaten us
to sue us, and
yeah.
I think there was some veiled threats of violence in there too, and.
Well, you got the messages, man. You can just pull them up, I'm sure.
I could, but I have to dig them out because that was when he shut down his Facebook account, so it doesn't really come up with his name anymore.
Gotcha.
And when you're getting messages to a page, it doesn't exactly come up real quick and easy. But anyway, you know what? That was the past. He seems to be much cooler to us now.
I mean, because seriously, when this happened, we were excited. We were like, "That's crazy." I mean, it was not like, man, I bet that guy's a dirty asshole. I mean, it was just we were excited about it. If I remember it was a long time ago.
I mean, I think originally Corbs and I made a few insinuations. We were extrapolating.
It wasn't on mic though. We were talking about it just between the two of us.
No.
So you called him a dirty asshole off mic. Okay.
No. I'm pretty sure we
Did we rip his ass on fucking mic?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we basically said we figured he's got to be some kind of a douchebag.
Okay.
Because just with a license plate like that, with what you immediately think it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, after we found out, I mean, I believe we
apologized.
We did a full public apology with our tongue firmly planted in cheek. But I mean, we really apologized and we corrected ourselves, saying that what it really means, according to our new friend Matthew. I can't call him Maddie anymore when now it comes up as Matthew, so it makes me sad.
He's gotten a little older now, so he's
right.
More sophisticated.
Also works for himself now. That's what I saw. So
wow.
Whatever it is he does, if our audience needs that service, go see our new friend Maddie O'Brien. So yeah, I was pretty.
We're gonna call him Maddie though.
I can't stop myself. It's just so good. It just sounds douchey. I love it. I can't help it.
Wait a minute. Refresh my memory. What did he do?
He was some kind of Audi technician, was it?
Yeah, he was a specialized mechanic for Audis and Volkswagens.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to dig up the old one so I can show you because he gives us actually a really good explanation in between being douchey in the messages about it. But I don't remember what it was because we really didn't care that much because we were really enjoying taking a piss at him.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? That's kind of a British thing, Hugh. So I'm looking at you.
Taking the piss, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I still.
You didn't. You took the. I think you took the piss at him. You didn't take a piss at him. Those are two different.
I mean, I probably would have. I mean, that's.
At that time, you probably would have.
I also did. I remember. I also did challenge him to show up at one of our live events and punch me. I remember that.
Yes,
too.
I remember that.
And I would have taken the hit.
You'd actually let him do it.
Yep, I would have. I mean, I would have been mad at you guys if you didn't record it.
I wonder what else you would take as long as we record.
Nope.
Not on mic, right?
Not off mic either. I'm putting that out there.
Don't lie.
Nope. All right. So let's move into Hugh's news segment. Take it away.
All right. So first up this week, Apple's to Oculus. Apple has announced they are making a VR headset, and this is going to be something a little different than what we're used to. This is going to be a very expensive, a premium product. They're talking about having it's going to have fabric on it. It's going to have a built-in fan, which is a fucking great idea. But the idea is it's going to be a really expensive, a small percentage of people adopt it as a precursor to a more consumer-friendly version. One of the internal reports say that they're expecting to sell maybe one of these per store per week. So they're not looking to make a lot of money off it. It seems like they want to get it out there and really test the technology and come out with something cheaper. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to Apple, when they say, hey, we want to put out this expensive thing to come out with something more consumer friendly and cheaper, well, consumer friendly and cheaper for them is also ridiculously expensive. So I can't imagine how much this fucking thing is going to cost. Next up, Cuban? No, Bothan/Rhodian. My father was from Alderaan. Nobody gets that. Wow. Liam Neeson has expressed interest in moving away from a ton of action movies. He wants to start doing other things. He's been approached by Seth MacFarlane and Paramount Studios to star in a reboot of the Naked Gun series. Come on, that's one of my best lines ever. All right. So if you're not familiar with the Naked Gun, it is a series of movies that was based on a TV show that was canceled after 6 episodes called Police Squad. Really funny show. It was on ABC, I believe, and it wasn't. It was one of those it was the right idea, wrong place, wrong time. Maybe the Naked Gun movies came out, which continued that story, and
so good.
Yeah, I actually got me thinking. I want to rewatch some of these to see if they hold up, because so much doesn't these days. But I mean, him in that role. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the idea. I
would watch it.
Yeah. I'd totally be sold. I mean, that's it. That's all you had to say. Liam Neeson, Naked Gun. I'm going to watch it. And finally, what big feet you have. Oklahoma State Representative Justin Humphrey has introduced a real-life bill to create an official Bigfoot hunting season in the state of Oklahoma. Okay. Now, this is legitimate. It's going to include a license, tags, things like that. Oklahoma is known for Bigfoot sightings, and apparently they want to kind of cash in on that. Now, they have a Bigfoot festival in October, if you're not aware of that. And he's talking about trying to have it coincide with the festival. So, get a whole mess of people coming to Oklahoma to find Bigfoot and then give people licenses to go kill them. I don't know. That could be a recipe for disaster. But there's a caveat. He really doesn't want you to kill Bigfoot. He really wants you to capture one alive. So he's working on putting together a $25,000 bounty for anybody that can bring a Bigfoot in alive. I'm thinking to myself, some of the people in Oklahoma, they're probably going, all right, we get some license, get some tags, fill our freezer, keep it on the down low. It's just funny, though, because, I mean, this is what we've got. Our lawmakers are actually spending time and money to create a hunting season for a mythical animal or a cryptid. I mean, I like that kind of stuff, and I'm not saying that Bigfoot doesn't exist, but, I have to look at that the same thing if they decided to have a Jersey Devil hunting season,
Not the hockey team.
Not the hockey team, the actual Jersey Devil. That's just craziness. But I suppose if it makes them money, I mean, all right. Now that's the news, kids. Now I'm back to 4chan to explain to everybody that it's called the Paris Climate Accord because it was signed in Paris, okay? If it was signed in Syracuse, it would be the Syracuse Climate Accord. Fucking idiots. Paul?
All right. On that note, we're going to cut to break, and we're going to come back and do our classic movie review.
All right.
Stay tuned, ladies.
The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest returns in 2021 with an all-new location. This family-friendly event will have new celebrity guests, new activities and attractions, as well as a diverse selection of vendors, ranging from horror and sci-fi merchandise, artists and authors, tattoo artists, podcasts, as well as unique vendors like breweries and wineries. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 27th and 28th at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Guest announcements will begin after the new year. For all up-to-date information, including tickets, vendor space, and sponsorship packages, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Please note, dates of event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19.
All right, we are back, and we're gonna go right into Corb's classic movie review. What you got for us this week?
Oh, I'm going to review a movie that's close to my heart. Again, I'm going to go with what I was talking about earlier. What's had me kind of depressed is a baseball movie called Field of Dreams. I'm sure 90%, if not everybody in America, has seen the movie. Hugh, you have not seen the movie, huh?
Nope.
All right.
And I haven't seen it in years.
It was on last week. Was watching the football game, one of the football games, and the game was over with. And I was kind of flipping between a couple different things. And I flipped on to MLB Network, and it was on, and it had already started. So I was kind of like, I'll watch it for a few minutes. Kelly was here, so I was going to watch it for a few minutes. We had it was after family game night, which we did again, which is always fun. So she stayed. We were gonna. I kind of figured she would stay for a little while. She always complains that I kick her out, but I don't kick her out. So we started watching it. So that's kind of why I decided to do it. And it has a special place in my heart, and I'll explain that towards when this is all done, said and done. Movie itself, I think, is a great movie. It's about a 36-year-old gentleman named Ray Kinsella, played by Kevin Costner. He and his wife Annie live in Iowa, and they are corn farmers. No, I can guarantee you both have never been to Iowa. I have.
I've been to Iowa, actually.
You've been to Iowa?
I have.
Oh, didn't he guarantee that you hadn't?
I did guarantee. I don't know what that means, but we'll figure that out later. But then you can attest to it. When you're driving down the road, all you see is fucking corn.
As far as you can, as the eye can see. And it's so fucking flat.
Both sides,
yes.
Straight ahead. It's corn forever. I won't even say miles. It goes to the horizon.
Yes, he's not wrong. That's not an exaggeration.
So he's he's at a conflict in his life. He feels like he's becoming his father. Doesn't really want to not achieve anything in his life. So he's kind of in that crossroads. Like he doesn't know what to do and doesn't really understand anything he has done in his life. One day he's walking through the field, checking the corn, and he hears a voice. Basically, it says, "If you build it, he will come."
That's where that comes from.
Yes. Yep. And it's been used in other things and parodies and stuff like that. But it's from this movie. If you build it, he will come. And he looks up and sees an image in the field of a baseball field, basically where his corn is. It's a baseball field, and on the field is Shoeless Joe Jackson, which was his father's favorite ball player. He discusses it with his wife. Basically says, "I want to plow under our crop to build this field so that Joe Jackson has a place to play." So he does it. The town that he lives in or lives by basically calls him a nutcase for doing it. Why would he plow under his only major crop type of thing? So he builds it. And then towards it doesn't happen it doesn't happen right away, but like the next spring or whatever, one night he's sitting in his house and his daughter comes to him and says there's a man out in the field, and he doesn't understand. So they go over and look out the window, and in the left field you see Joe Jackson. He's just standing there. So he goes out to greet him, He hits him a few fly balls, and then asks him to pitch to him so that he can hit. The only inaccuracy that I don't like is Joe Jackson was left-handed, and in the movie he hits right-handed. And Joe Jackson movie is played by Ray Liotta. You all know Ray Liotta from many movies. He's a relatively big actor. You don't know him?
That sounds like a brand of salami to me.
He was in Goodfellas. Don't know if you've seen that one.
Man, I could go for some Liotta and cheese. Maybe some olives.
All right.
There's your title, Paul. Liotta and cheese.
So he hits fly balls. He pitches to him, and stuff like that. So they start talking about, how he got kicked out because Joe Jackson was suspended for life for gambling in 1919 with the Black Sox scandals, which is something that I've researched a lot. Like I said, Joe Jackson's my favorite baseball player. People don't understand how I can like a guy from the 1910s, but I do. I've read the books about it. I've read the book that this movie is based on. So yes, I do read books. Both of you can stop laughing.
I wasn't laughing.
I know.
I assumed you could read a little.
Well, it was big. It was big letters. So obviously, he builds this field so that his father's favorite player can come and play. He brings the other guys that got kicked out with him back, and they kind of have a practice. In the meantime, they're in danger of losing their home. So, they don't understand. And his wife's brother works for the mortgage company or whatever, and he's trying to get them to sell them so that they can replant the field with corn and make money again. So one day after practice or whatever, he's walking through the field again, and he hears the voice again. And it says, ease his pain. And he doesn't understand what it is. They go to a meeting, a PTA meeting that night. And the PTA meeting's about a guy from the 50s and 60s, Terrence Mann, was a big writer at the time, and then just kind of fell off the planet until the early 80s when he started tinkering around with his personal computer, and he writes interactive children's games that helped him solve conflicts peacefully. So he takes that as he needs to go and meet this guy, Terrence Mann, and take him to a ball game, and he'll get another sign as to what he needs to do. So he goes to Boston where Terrence Mann lives, gets him, actually doesn't get him, kidnaps him with a finger gun.
Like,
yeah.
Finger guns. Okay.
Finger gun. Yeah. He puts it in his pocket and says it's a gun and whatnot. And so they go to the game. He gets another message about a player from 1922 named Archibald Graham. Nickname is Moonlight. So he played one game in 1922, never had an at bat. So he's like, okay, well, we can go home now. I'll take you back to your house, and I'll leave you alone. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So he takes Terrence Mann back home, drops him off. They kind of talk a little bit, and as he's leaving, Terrence Mann steps in front of his VW van, is what he's driving, and says the name. So he obviously saw the same sign that Kevin Costner's character saw. So they both decide that they're going to drive to, excuse me, is it Chisholm, Minnesota?
Chisholm.
Something like that. Where Moonlight Graham was from, Archibald Graham was from. That's where he was born, and that's where he died. So what it ends up being is they show up there, and they're looking for him, obviously, but he died many years ago. So they're kind of confused as to why they're going there to look for this guy that died at the time. I think it was like 20 years ago. So they're sitting in the hotel room. they see on the news that Terrence Mann has been kidnapped because his son has been trying to get a hold of him and can't reach him in Boston because he's in Minnesota. So Kevin Costner's character goes for a walk, and next thing you know, he's in 1972. So it's kind of a time travel type of movie too. So he sees a guy walking down the street. Lo and behold, it's Archibald Graham, the old Archibald Graham. He'd become a doctor. And, he was able to provide services for people and all that stuff. So he basically asks him, if there was one thing that you could do in your life other than be a doctor, what would it have been? And he's like, well, I would have liked to have wanted bat in the major leagues. And he basically says, well, I don't know if you want to, but I think I could take you to a place that you can do that. And he's like, well, I don't want to do that because if I do that, maybe I'll continue to play. I would have continued on playing if I would have gotten in at bat. He goes, it would have been a travesty if I didn't become a doctor. So he leaves it at that, and they decide. Kevin Costner's like, well, I'm going to bring you home, Terrence, and then I'm going to go back home. And he's like, well, no, I'm going to go with you. I have to see this now. So they drive to Iowa, and along the way, they pick up a kid hitchhiking. And lo and behold, it's the young version of Archibald Graham. So they drive back to Iowa to Ray's home. They get out, and so they brought it in. So the players are there. They're warming up or whatever. And Joe Jackson walks over and is talking to Ray and introduces himself to Terrence Mann, and then kind of walks back and he looks at the kid and says, "Oh, you're Archibald Graham." Never introduces himself to him, never says anything to him. He just walks back over and knows exactly who he is. And everybody's kind of awestruck at that. Like, well, how do you know who this kid is? So, he tells him to go warm up. They play. And then, so they play the rest of the night and then come back the next morning and they're playing again. And Archibald Graham's there, and Andy's brother shows up, and he's got the foreclosure papers in his hand, and he gives them to Ray and tells him he's got to sign because come tomorrow morning, because it's a Sunday, so Monday morning they're going to foreclose on a house and they're going to lose everything. So they go about talking, and Ray's daughter basically says, well, Dad, you don't have to worry, Dad, because people are going to come. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And she just says, well, people will come. People are going to come here and want to see this. But nobody else can see them. Like Timothy Busfield, who plays Andy's brother, he can't see the only people that can see him are Terrence Mann, Ray Liotta. Terrence Mann is played by James Earl Jones, Darth Vader. Kevin Costner, Annie, can't remember who she's played by. I had it right there on top of my tongue, and I can't remember. And his daughter.
Amy Madigan.
There you go. Thank you.
Got it.
So they're all standing there, and what happens is Ray's daughter falls off the back of the bleachers and starts choking on a hot dog. And they're standing there, and they're going to call 911 and whatnot. And Ray says to wait, and in the field is Archibald Graham. He comes running over, and there's a line of rocks in the dirt that the players can't go over. If they go over that, they turn into their older selves, and they can't go back and play baseball anymore. So he steps on the rock, and he changes from the young Archibald Graham to the older Archibald Graham, the doctor, and saves his daughter's life. So everybody's real happy. And at that point, now Timothy Busfield can see everybody, which is like the funny part, because they're showing it and he goes, "Oh, when did these players get here?" And they've been standing there. But when his daughter's talking about when the people will come, James Earl Jones has one of the greatest speeches, I think, in any movie, talking about how baseball has stood the test of time. The world has been built, destroyed, and rebuilt, but baseball continues on. It's always there. It's always going to be there. I can probably, if I looked it up, I probably could give you the whole speech, but that's the gist of it. And then so at the end, they're talking. He's talking to Ray. Joe Jackson's talking to Ray, and he looks at him and says, "Well," because they invite Terrence Mann to come with them out into the field, and when you go in the field, you kind of disappear. It's pretty weird. But he asked him to go with him, and Ray wants to go. He wants to know what's out there and if it's heaven or whatever. And he keeps saying, "Well, I think you should stay. I think you should stay. I think you should stay." So finally, he realizes that there's a reason why he should have stayed, and the reason is his father, the younger version of his father, is there catching the game. So they realized that everything that they were pushing him towards, build it. If you build it, he will come. Ease his pain. The other one is go the distance. It was all for him to make up with his father. Him and his father had a fight just before his father died, and he never had a chance to make up with his father. So the end scene is him and his father talking. He introduces him to his wife. He introduces him to his daughter, which is obviously his daughter-in-law and his granddaughter. But he doesn't know it at the time because he's so much younger at the time. When he's later is when he had Ray. So at the end, the two of them, which is the one thing he says in the movie, is, can you imagine a son not wanting to play catch with his father? That's kind of poignant because at the end, as his dad's walking away, he asks him, he says, "Hey, Dad." He finally calls him Dad at that point. "Hey, Dad, you want to have a catch?" And they start playing catch. And as they pull away, you see the line of cars coming down the road. And it's miles and miles long. So obviously the fact that his daughter said that people will come proves the point that they're going to be there. And people are pulling in at that time when they're playing catch in the field. So that's the basis of the movie. I love the movie. I try to watch it whenever it's on. For me, it's got more meaning than most people. I was actually able to go and step foot on that field with my father. Me and my father went. It was a trip that him and I took, just the two of us. We drove to the field. I was actually able to play catch with my father on that field. So that was pretty good. And I actually got to take batting practice on that field.
Nice.
With my father pitching to me. The funny thing about that was we were there, and they obviously there's people all over the place. People come from all over to see this field. So there were kids hitting and stuff like that, and parents are goofing around and trying to catch fly balls. But a lot of the parents were sitting on the sidelines, and the kids were kind of goofing around, and they were just they were kind of not really doing anything. So I decided to take a little batting practice with my father, and I started hitting balls all over the place, and you could see the fathers on the sidelines grab their gloves and run out in the field. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it was, again, playing catch with my father on that field, my son being born is one thing that tops that. Because obviously the way the movie ends, him playing catch with his father, and my father and I talk about that all the time. It was a great trip. So for me, you can ask me how many stars I give it. I couldn't tell you that because there's more meaning to the movie for me than anything else. Cinematography and all that stuff is good. It's pretty basic. They don't really do too much. The good thing, the funny thing about it is, obviously it's Kevin Costner. He played in 3 baseball movies total. He did Bull Durham, which anybody has seen it knows that's a classic baseball movie. This one, and then rumor has it. The funny thing about it is there's 2 teenagers as extras in the scene at Fenway Park. You know who they are? It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's the first time they're ever on the screen.
That's
it's
funny.
in that movie as extras. So that's where they got their start. So that was pretty cool. But like I said, movies got more meaning to me. For stars, I'm gonna have to give it like 750.
So if I understand this, it's a movie about mental illness and shared delusions.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was following along.
Yeah.
He pours his heart out, tells you how much this means to him, and you're like, yeah, fuck you.
That doesn't take away the meaning that it has to him.
It doesn't.
No.
As somebody who's never seen this movie before, listening to that, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What kind of fever dream bullshit is this?
It's weird. It's weird because I mean, obviously you get the fantasy aspect, you get the time travel aspect. Yeah, it's definitely
Imagining, like 6 writers writing this by committee. Oh, what if he just walks out and goes back in time?
right.
I mean, just like they had an idea. A farmer builds a baseball diamond in a cornfield, and then just shit went off the rails from there. And the writers are
right. You got players that have been dead for 20 years that are coming back to play baseball, and they.
And let's get that guy named after the salami to play him.
That's what stuns me is that you don't know who Ray Liotta is.
I do know who Ray Liotta is.
Thank God. I thought you were serious. I was like, wait, no, come on. So, Corbs, do you want to hear what Roger Ebert had to say about Field of Dreams? Well, he gives it 3 stars.
Okay.
And this was apparently, I'm assuming these are all the release dates with the date that they have on them, and that was April 21st of 1989.
Yeah, about right.
And he says, the farmer is standing in the middle of a cornfield when he hears the voice for the first time. If you build it, he will come. He looks around and doesn't see anybody. The voice speaks again, soft and confidential. If you build it, he will come. Sometimes you can get too much sun out there in a hot Iowa cornfield in the middle of the season. But this isn't a case of sunstroke. Up until the farmer starts hearing voices, Field of Dreams is a completely sensible film about a young couple who want to run a family farm in Iowa. Ray and Annie Kinsella, Kevin Costner and Amy Madigan, have tested the fast track and had enough of it, and they enjoy sitting on the porch and listening to the grass grow. When the voice speaks for the first time, the farmer is baffled, and so is I. Could this be one of those religious pictures where a voice tells the humble farmer where to build the cathedral? It is a religious picture, all right, but the religion is baseball. And when he doesn't understand the spoken message, Ray is granted a vision of a baseball diamond right there in his cornfield. If he builds it, the voice seems to promise, Joe Jackson will come and play on it. Shoeless Joe, who was a member of the infamous 1919 Black Sox team, but protested until the day he died that he played the best he could. As Field of Dreams developed this fantasy, I found myself being willingly drawn into it. Movies are often so timid these days, so afraid to take flights of the imagination, that there is something grand and brave about a movie where a voice tells a farmer to build a baseball diamond so that Shoeless Joe Jackson can materialize out of the cornfield and hit a few fly balls. This is the kind of movie Frank Capra might have directed and James Stewart might have starred in, a movie about dreams. It is important not to tell too much about the plot, Corbs.
Sorry.
I'm grateful I knew. Right. I'm grateful I knew nothing about the movie when I went to see it, but the ads give away the Shoeless Joe angle. Let it be said that Annie supports her husband's vision and that he finds it necessary to travel east to Boston so that he can enlist the support of a famous writer played by James Earl Jones, who has disappeared from sight north to Minnesota to talk to what remains of a doctor, Burt Lancaster, who never got the chance to play with the pros. The movie sensibly never tries to make the slightest explanation for the strange events that happen after the diamond is constructed. There is, of course, the usual business about how the bank thinks the farmer has gone haywire and wants to foreclose on his mortgage. The Capra and Stewart movies always had evil bankers in them. But there is not a corny, stupid payoff at the end. Instead, the movie depends on a poetic vision to make its point. The director, Phil Eldon Robinson, and the writer, W.P. Kinsella, are dealing with stuff that's close to the heart. It can't be a coincidence that the author and the hero have the same last name. They love baseball and they think it stands for an earlier, simpler time when professional sports were still games and not industries. There is a speech in this movie about baseball that is so simple and true that it is heartbreaking. And the whole attitude towards the players reflects that attitude. Why do they come back from the great beyond and play in this cornfield? Not to make any kind of vast earth-shattering statement, but simply to hit a few and field a few and remind us of a good and innocent time. It is very tricky to act in a movie like this. There is always the danger of seeming ridiculous. Costner and Madigan create such a grounded, believable married couple that one of the themes of this movie is the way love means sharing your loved one's dreams. Jones and Lancaster create small, sharp character portraits. Two older men who have taken the paths life offered them, but never forgotten what baseball represented to them in their youth. Field of Dreams will not appeal to Grinches and Grouches and realists. It is a deliberate, delicate movie, a fragile construction of one goofy fantasy after another, but it has the courage to be about exactly what it promises. If you build it, he will come. And he does. In a baseball movie named The Natural, the hero seemed almost messianic.
Messianic, yeah.
Thank you. Field of Dreams has a more modest aim. The ghost of Shoeless Joe does not come back to save the world. He simply wants to answer that wounded cry that has become a baseball legend. Say it ain't so, Joe. And the answer is, it ain't.
That makes me imagine him showing up in the midst of a bunch of Nazis with a gun going, I'm Shoeless Joe, bitches.
You forgot. Corpse forgot to tell you that part. That actually is in the middle of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It is.
But I like your review better because it actually made me want to go back and watch it again. And like I said, I haven't seen it in years and years.
Yep.
So
I'm not going to do that.
As soon as he finishes Supernatural, you'll watch it? Is that it?
I won't even make that promise. So.
Just like, fuck no. All right. So let's move on to something a little more modern. Have you guys all caught up on WandaVision?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Full color, finally.
Yeah,
And,
got the whole 70s thing going.
Yeah,
Yep.
was that like the Mary Tyler Moore show?
I thought it was Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I thought Brady Bunch.
That's the vibe I got.
That's what I first thought. I thought it kind of too Brady Bunch, but the ending of the thing, I thought maybe kind of more like Mary Tyler. It was more like Mary Tyler Moore ish, but I kind of got the Brady Bunch theme vibe too in the beginning. So okay,
Yeah. I think it's cool that we got the twins.
Yeah, and mentioning of Pietro and Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Francine or whatever her supposed name is.
Gwendolyn.
Yeah, and in the end of the episode, that just makes me think the outside world is there and they're trying to keep something in.
Yeah. Yeah. And the conspiring with the two neighbors there.
Yeah,
Like, I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of a payoff on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there is some
is it
weird
kinda-
shit going on.
Now, I remember she has the ability to kind of mess with your mind.
Yes.
Oh, reality, right? She's
With reality, she kind of can implant whatever. I mean, I remember from Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
When she messes with like Tony Stark and all of them. Is it my understanding that that's kind of what's going on here? Like somebody's messing with her mind? They're trying to keep her kind of sedated almost?
It's hard to say. And I mean, what I initially thought going into it, I'm second guessing now.
I'm not second guessing it at all.
I still think that's the basis, the House of M thing, but they're definitely tweaking stuff.
Well, they
Yeah.
have to because
Well, I mean,
you can't have
totally
that
have to.
line, but yeah,
Right.
but I still think it's the same basic idea. But it seems to me like people are aware of it and trying to contain it.
Yeah, and it looks like Sword is trying to drop people into it to help it along, coax it, like keep
Maybe.
it mellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You said-
you
You said sword?
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause
You'll see.
I did see like the Hydra soap. Stuff
Yes.
like that. I thought maybe it was. I'm assuming that's the same thing as Hydra sword. I
That's
don't-
my assumption too. Yeah, because
Okay.
there's been 2 references in the commercials now to Hydra.
yeah.
I didn't know if that's what it was. If it was like Hydra is kidnapped or whatever, and they've kind of got her in a sedated state type of thing. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know, but
I think that interestingly enough, the scene outside after she has the baby with Vision and the neighbors, that makes me think that Vision is somewhat autonomous. Paul, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not entirely convinced he's part of this.
Right.
As I
Yeah.
first thought he was
Right.
part of this.
I construct initially, and no, I don't think so either.
But I don't know how,
Right.
So that's, again, not wanting to give anything away here, but
Right, because we're very early into the show. I don't even know how many episodes this is, but I mean, we are unfolding slowly.
Yeah.
Can't
wait till next Friday.
No, I'm loving this show. It's so well done, and I'm the only one in the house that enjoys it. I keep being told it's stupid. So,
I can see where people won't understand it and don't like it. It's tough to kind of get into. I mean, if you're not looking at it, first episode, it was kind of like the 50s, 60s TV show. Then it was like the 60s with the end coming into the 70s, but you get into the color era, and now you got that. I'm assuming next week will probably be maybe more 70s. You'll probably even maybe get into like a little bit of the 80s. I was thinking more like the Cosby Show type of thing. I don't know if they'll do the Cosby Show only because of Bill and stuff like that. I just that part to me seems kind of cool that they're incorporating that.
Oh, and then we get to the 90s and they can do Fresh Prince. They'll probably
There
do
you go.
Full House though.
I was thinking Full House, but yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would be great. But yeah, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite shows right now. Yeah, even though that we've got Walking Dead coming back in a few weeks for a limited run.
About that.
Can't wait for that.
Speaking of that, is Fear the Walking Dead coming back?
Yes, end of February. They just announced that yesterday, I think.
Okay.
6 episodes.
Yeah, I know that.
No, regular Walking Dead's coming back.
Yeah,
Fear
that comes
the
back
Walking
in
Dead.
I'm sorry, my bad.
I believe.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead comes back in February.
The 28th. Yeah.
28. Yeah, it's 23rd. So 23rd to the 28th. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like
one
that.
Of the loopy ones there.
Yeah. Nice.
We're getting close to wrapping up here. Sci-Fi Horror Fest. I've been talking to Tiffany Beth again. She wanted us to let everybody know all their vendor slots are sold out, so that's gonna be a jam-packed show.
Very nice.
And she also said to tease that the next guest announcement will be coming in March.
Okay.
So looking forward to that. Does anybody have anything else to wrap up?
Does she know who it is? I mean, she knows.
She knows. She will not tell me anything. That's for sure.
Why? We didn't let it slip.
Nope. But she keeps that close to the vest.
I do have something to bring up. We weren't gonna weren't gonna like touch on the whole Capitol thing. We didn't even talk politics this week.
I almost forgot.
But there was something that came out today. I saw somebody posted it on my Facebook page, and it was just a picture of Kamala Harris. God damn it!
Not on your screen.
Yeah, and you can't even see it.
No,
well, you can't see it. Okay, it's just a picture of her from the inauguration with a Bible verse. It said, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." Revelation 17:4.
Wow.
And then this should give you chills. Now, of course, we went through the whole Obama's the Antichrist thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, apparently, Kamala Harris is. Now, she made the awful, awful sin of wearing purple. Okay, there's no scarlet. Okay, there's no scarlet in her outfit at all. Just purple. They still put that up there. Decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. She's got pearl earrings on, and she's got a very modest necklace. Probably not nearly as much as a bunch of other people at the inauguration. Definitely isn't decked out. There's no golden cup in her hand anywhere. And I'm just like, fucking Christ almighty. I mean, you know how I feel about religion, but for fuck's sake, how many times do you people have to be wrong about who the Antichrist is before you realize your leaders are full of shit? For fuck's sake.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Not wrong.
And we will just touch on all those awful riots on the inauguration day.
Oh yeah,
that was horrible, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I shared on Twitter a photo from the Capitol here in New York, in Albany, of one lone sad individual there with his Trump flag. It was good times. So
yeah. So that was nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any last statements before I start dropping nuggets again?
Drop some nuggets, Paul.
All right. So folks ask if I run. Yes, out of patience, fucks, and money. Good night, everybody. I'm not gonna bite me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.